You'll see why I need these in a moment. There we go. Right, that sorts that shit out. Trust me, there is a very good reason why I have got that up. And hello, Christina. I'm doing all right, just making sure the camera's all right. But there is a reason I have the skizzers out, and trust me, it will be very apparent later. But for now, man alive, where do I begin with this one? Finally got a notification. Ah, very good. So it's all working just fine. That's good. So, I'll give this, probably say, another minute or so, and then we'll get this show on the road. I know, wait, the picture's blurry. It shouldn't be. Shouldn't be, generally speaking, because I've been getting into a habit of cleaning the damn thing. But if that really is the case, maybe I should pop to the bathroom and give the old lens a rub. I mean, we all love a good rub, don't we? Anyway, that's not what I was talking about. I will talk about the manifesto book that I have got, and I also want to talk about the news, and I also want to talk about this letter that I've got. Just letting you know. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But isn't it a bloody coincidence that I am getting this letter today, of all things? It could have come yesterday, could have come Wednesday, could have come Tuesday. No, TV licensing is fucking impeccable, aren't they? Yes, I have taken out the address. Good old days, isn't it? We'll be in on the 30th of October. There's no record of a TV license at your address. That's because I don't watch fucking television, number one. And number two, most importantly, I don't watch anything on BBC iPlayer. That's why there may not be a TV license there. That's a thought. But of course, I'll have certain members of my family say, well, you should let them in, because then they can see that you don't have a TV license. No, absolutely not. That's not how the law works, love. Because some of these guys are crooked. Some of these people, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to enter my home and then try to fabricate charges. Or hell, if they go to all the extremes, hell, they'll probably put a bloody TV screen in my home and just say, oh, you see, you've got TV, you need a TV license. Yeah, fuck off. Anyway, as there's no record of a TV license at your address, you should expect a visit from an enforcement officer. I've been expecting a visit from an officer for the last, year or so? Maybe even 2. And you fuckers still haven't showed up. You are the kings of disappointment. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that, because that belongs to Keir the traitor Starmer. But they are the kings of just absolutely bloody disappointing me. Like, I am waiting for this opportunity for them to give me that knock on the door, so I can be like, hi cunts. Maybe not literally like that, but that's basically what it is. What's happening with the signal? It shouldn't be anything with the signal, but if there's anything wrong, it'll probably be YouTube acting. Trouble is, YouTube likes to do a lot of interference with these live streams. So you may end up finding out that some of my voice sometimes cuts out entirely. That's because of YouTube's doing, not me. I've got the best fucking connection money can buy right now, so I am hoping it should stay straight. But my appreciation. Well, I thank you for being here, David. I hope you're all right. 26 won't make a difference. Don't know, but we try. And you know what? I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. Anyway, back on this. It may be on the 30th or another day. You could be prosecuted if you are caught watching, recording, or downloading programs illegally. Well, I've already made my point. I don't have a TV and I don't watch anything from fucking iPlayer. So that's largely irrelevant. On live number 1, on live TV or BBC iPlayer, you may have to pay a fine of up to £1,000. It's usually never that high. They usually only charge you about 200-300 quid tops, plus any legal costs and or compensation. We visit around 5,000 addresses a day. Our officers visit an address every 10 seconds, day, evening, or weekends. If no one answers, they can come back. Do you think I give a shit? No, I don't give a shit. Because TV licensing goons are nothing more than glorified salesmen. Or women, if it's a woman that decides to walk to the door. At the end of the day, they have no power to enter your house. And obviously, I don't condone anybody actually watching programs live or recording them live or watching anything on BBC iPlayer. For that, you do need a TV license. But if you don't do any of those things, you don't need a TV license. You don't have to pay the paedophile network, I mean BBC, or maybe I was right first time, your hard-earned cash. You don't have to do any of it. Fire start on soon. I love it. Good one, that one. I do prefer using it as bog roll, so any time I need to wipe my ass, I've got my handy TV license letter right here. But the cold truth is, I'm actually trying to save these up. I'm trying to save these up because there's the potential for me to say, you people need to stop harassing me, and basically, if you don't stop harassing me, I'll see you cunts in court. Because it is effectively harassment and intimidation. The bottom line is you don't need to tell the BBC you need a TV license unless you actually need one. And even then I probably wouldn't, quite frankly. But that's the thing with TV license goons. They have no power to enter your house. They have no power to arrest you. They have no power to do anything other than show their ID to you and say they're from TV licensing. And the moment you see them, say that, close the door on them, say, no thank you, goodbye. And their investigation is done. Just like that. Hello, Mike. Hope you're doing all right today. I didn't expect you to come on here. A bit of a shock even for me. But yeah, hope you were here a couple of minutes ago, Mikey, because TV licensing goons. Ah, dearie me. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Probably the most important part. The manifesto book. Because I have said I will be reading some of this on Saturday. Now, I'm obviously not going to read all, 350 pages. Stroke number 2. All 350 pages of this. So I will have to basically cut it down into, smaller segments. Now, as much as you'd probably like me to read all of this on stream, I think the cold, bitter truth is we know that whenever I try to read this out, YouTube's going to come in and try and cut out some of the audio. So I'm not going to allow that shit. I'm basically going to do this off stream, but I will load up the videos and I will, if necessary, even include the fucking pages and all that shit that I get up to. That way, YouTube can't come in and be like, oh, you're talking about this, but let's just cut that bit out, shall we? No, bollocks to that. I plan to put the whole truth out, all 350 pages of it, whether you like it or not, YouTube. And it's time we take the fight to kill the traitor Starmer. Because the bottom line is, these fuckers in the establishment, they need to pay for what they've done. What I will do, though, I don't know if some of you have seen Tommy Robinson's introduction on this, because, well, I don't have a crystal ball. But what I will do, just as a small introduction here, as long as there isn't too much of that shit, I'm probably just going to read the first page here and just give you an idea of what to expect from this book. As said, it's probably something that Tommy Robinson already put out, but we'll go with it. So, this book is an anti-fascist book. We spend most of this book exposing how the power of the fascist state works. There is only one essential quality of fascism. It is the belief that the state and the powerful groups connected to it can and should control the actions of the individual citizens, restrict or compel your speech, acts, restrict or compel commercial transactions, etc., etc. The fascism disguises its tyranny by claiming to care for the welfare of the masses. Excuse me a second. The military uniforms of Benito Mussolini and Adolf Hitler are incidental to fascism. Fascism is a form of collectivism. It creates an us, the collective, and fascism directs hatred from the collective towards a them, the other. In the case of Britain, the hated group is the white working class, the indigenous people. Whilst the fascist state is an alliance of corporations and all the mascot groups to which the fascist state gives privileged status. We are sure there are hundreds of items of information in the book which will be new to you, because the state and its employees have been deceiving the public for decades. We will show you how even before 1920, Britain was the inspiration for Mussolini's fascism. After reading this book, the systemic lunacy seen in the West in the past 50 years will make sense. The left correctly accuse fascism of being unprincipled, and the left know this because fascism is a product of the left. Fascists were Marxists who saw that a revolutionary communism would fail, so they adopted Marxism and formed fascism. Fascism is the combination of socialism with big business, with politics, controlled by a single party. It is easily demonstrated that throughout the West, democracy is a deception, concealing the small elite who really wield power, where each new government simply carries on with the policies of the past government, with this single consensus party in each country pretending to be different parties, brainwashing the public and criminalizing dissent. In 1997, Britain's Socialist Party began the project of replacing the indigenous people In 2010, Britain's quote-unquote Conservative Party took over and increased the pace at which the socialist project of population replacement was to be conducted. The fascist state disguises its tyranny by pretending to care for the masses and bribing groups of people, and by directing hatred towards designated groups. The fascist state cannot tolerate dissent or individual freedom. Individual freedom is the opposite of collectivism. See Appendix 9 for a quick overview of the difference between collectivism and individualism. I sound like a fucking commercial guy now, don't I? And the fascist state decides what is true and what is false, what has value and what does not. Reality is irrelevant to fascism because the fascist state legislates what is true and even legislates who is human. The fascist state, a man with a beard is a woman. War is peace. An aborted baby isn't human. It is an inconvenience to its mother. A weed is an unwanted plant. Noise is unwanted sound. Hitler's Germany, legislated certain humans were not human. Freedom is slavery. You are a criminal if you refuse to agree with what the fascist state dictates is the truth. A member of a privileged group can say X or Y, X is Y, and I approve. But if a dissident says X is Y, I disapprove, then he is a criminal. The fascist state criminalizes you for your attitude towards X and Y, even if the fact that X is Y is not in dispute. I think that'll be all I read for now. I don't want to go too far into this because obviously I'm just trying to give it as an introduction. But we will be reading all of this over the course of, I don't know how many weeks. It could be 4 weeks, it could be 6 weeks, could be 8 weeks. I don't know. What I do know, though, and can tell you free of charge, is I will be reading all of this. Unlike a lot of books that I've read, I've even read through a good portion of the Silence book I bought off of Amazon. But I will be making a concerted effort to read all of the manifesto. And it is going to tell us exactly what our dictatorship, or again, maybe I was right first time, is trying to do to us. But of course, the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. They don't want this book hitting us. They don't want the truth getting out. Keir the traitor Starmer is probably shitting himself right now as far as what's coming on the 26th is concerned. As Cosmic's rightly said, they're killing us. We're under attack. There's a shitload of poverty. We're getting more and more into shit because we're getting more into debt and causing more austerity. The rich get richer. The poor gets poorer. The name of the book? I know it's backwards, but it's Manifesto. But we see time and time again, every time another party gets into power, the rich keep getting richer while the poor get poorer. I welcome everyone in who is new here or who's just returning. Appreciate you all being here. But I think what's chilling me more than anything is the very dark precedent that has been set as far as Lucy Connolly is concerned. It's sad. It is very concerning when we have Keir traitor Starmer thinking it's perfectly justifiable to let out all the killers and the rapists and all of the predators like Hugh Degenerate Edwards. They don't even get to face time in jail or they get released from prison. Yet, we have people who are going out of their way to sentence ordinary people for comments on the internet. And while I accept, you could say Lucy Connolly should have said the hotel should be full of these people when we burn them down, i.e. the hotels, it doesn't change the fact that the sentence she's got is completely disproportional compared to what's happened with all these attacks on our police by these Islamic scumbags, the Manchester airport attack in particular, what's happened as far as Hugh Degenerate Edwards is concerned, 6-month sentence, suspended for 2 years, and he's probably never going to fucking face it. Let's face it. He's probably never going to spend a single minute in jail. He's probably going to walk a free man, a danger to children, while he still gets his pension handed out by the executives of the BBC. And we're going to see those hate marches from Palestine and Islam continue to waddle on down the fucking streets, continually spouting their vitriol, continually calling for a caliphate / Sharia law. And our police will do fuck all about it because they're scared of one spoken word: racist. They're scared of being called a racist for actually doing their job and arresting these hate marchers. That's what sucks more than anything. There's something I usually say when I'm streaming my games and the games are kicking me to the curb. I say, there's no justice. Well, we can clearly see there is definitely no justice in this country anymore. Yes, I think I saw something about a veteran being charged with something related to praying. An absolute disgrace. Oh yes, and then of course we have Philip T-Boy Schofield, if you catch my drift, who is trying to play himself up as the victim. Oh, woe is me. Oh, my poor life. Oh, no, what's happened to me? Philip, you spent time in an inappropriate relationship. That's what happened. You're no saint. You're no angel. You're a monster. On top of all that, you wanted to cut queues as well. Let's not forget that shit. The political prisoners, I have no idea where they're going. For all I know, they may get put in some safe prison, for all I know. Or they may be put in the likes of fucking Belmarsh or something. They'll be possibly put somewhere where their lives are going to be directly put in danger, is my humble opinion. And don't worry too much about misspelling my name. You could do a lot worse. I've had people call me Abby. So there you go. But the way I look at this right now is that march on the 26th of October, 8 days from now. Make your plans. We have got to send a message to this establishment. We will no longer tolerate this absolutely blatant racism against white working class, against political prisoners. We have had enough. Every single day that goes by, Keir the traitor Starmer should be thankful he hasn't had a revolution on his hands. He should be very thankful for that shit. Because if we had people who had the lion heart back then, back in days yonder, with the revolutions that took place then, Keir the traitor Starmer would have been out of power within the first month. He would be gone, just like that. Because there is no shot they would allow anybody like him to continue pressing their thumb on the indigenous British people. I reckon we are heading towards civil war, folks. I think that's the cold truth. That doesn't mean I want it. That doesn't mean I'll advocate for that shit. But it is something that I'm worried about. I think our future is looking very dark. I think there may end up being blood spilled on the streets for the simple fact that Keir the traitor Starmer has no shame, no integrity, and most importantly, no balls. He has no balls to make the real hard decisions, not the hard decisions he claims are hard. The only hard decision he makes is whether or not I do one in my sheets in the evening or the morning. That's the way I look at it. He's a complete prick. And that's the thing. I guess I'm quite lucky that I've got loads of people who support me and understand that I do things in a unique way, in that I literally have no filter. I have no restraints. I'm not sitting here in a fucking white straitjacket claiming to be absolutely nuts. What I will say, however, despite the few screws loose, I know a lot of what I'm talking about. And when I don't, I dig into it. And what I see is Keir the traitor Starmer is doing everything he can to sink this place. Doing everything he can. That's why we need to all be there on the 26th of October. We need to have at least 250,000 people turn up. It will send such a message directly to that traitor that will say, you will no longer control us. You will no longer be the force of evil that keeps people scared. You will not be the force of evil that keeps us from going out. Am I going? Of course I'm going. Of course I'm going. I've made it my civic duty. The only way I'm not going is if the absolute most dire consequences happen. Namely, I don't know, my mum or my sister ends up on their fucking deathbed and I've got to look after them. Or perish the thought I get struck down. Outside that, there is no way I'm going. That's the way I look at it. But what I was also trying to say, which I kind of swerved around a little bit, is I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I will say it exactly how it is, and I will do my best not to bullshit you. Struck down D&D. Yes, my friend Mike here, very good friend of mine, he actually does his own little business here in Norwich. It's actually very successful. And he's actually been he's been my close friend, quite frankly. Can't recommend the guy enough. If you need a phone repaired, he'll even direct you to someone who can do that. He repairs all sorts of electronics, though, and he is very good at it. And he has been there for me from the start. Even getting me that tough time I had, which I mentioned in one of my videos about my sister wishing COVID upon me. Just to touch on it briefly. He has been there, and he's been amazing to me, so big props to him. I will say that much, going off on a tangent. But at the end of the day, we must make sure we're down there. We must make sure Keir the traitor Starmer pays for his injustices, pay for his crimes. In fact, it's funny how he wants people who are his political opponents to be locked into a jail cell somewhere, throw away the key. But he's guilty of many crimes, and I've mentioned one of them as well, where he filled out on his little election form that basically he was living at Lord Ali's house instead of his own personal address, which he wasn't allowed to do, which that in and of itself constitutes he could have broken electoral law. Why is this big? It's big because this is the only general election he stood for. Which means he is cooked. He will have to face the music sooner or later. That's the cold truth. He will have to face it. It just depends what type of music it is. That's the way I slice it. And the reason I can say this without saying allegedly is because he said it himself. Straight from the horse's mouth. He said that he took his son over to Lord Ali's £18 million mansion so he could actually study for his GCSEs in peace. Which the mainstream media, of course, aren't going to tell you. Because, as I said, his credibility with the ordinary people will go up. Just like that. He'll be done, cooked, 200 degrees in the oven, 15 minutes. Ding. That's the way I look at it. He's got no chance of lasting. He won't last 5 years. The fucker thought he's going to last 10 years with this fucking £521 million contract to process illegal immigrants. My God, there is no shot you're lasting 10 years. You'll be lucky if you last 10 months, let alone 10 years. And frankly, I think you're gone before you even get to half that. Like, you have got so many scandals coming out about you, Keir the traitor Starmer. I'm surprised that nobody's released a novel of just how many scandals there are that you have. Like, you might as well have a fucking book as big as Tommy Robinson's at this point. And yeah, this Comic Sans MS, like I give a fuck, still made top of the fucking charts, didn't it? 4th time bestseller. Can't look at Starmer. To be fair, I feel sick when I look at him as well. If it makes you feel better. But, yeah, Keir's done. It's just a matter of when, more than anything. Corrupted, well, we all knew that. But, my God. It scares me when I think about the election that took place on July the 4th. It scares me because it makes me wonder how many people are so trapped in the matrix that they literally cannot see the wood from the trees. We need a party that cares for Britain. And I think the truth is, as much as we might put faith in Nigel Farage or put faith in UKIP's leader, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, I think there needs to be a party made by Tommy Robinson. I think that's the way maybe you could claw it back. As much as Nigel Farage has influence, as much as Nigel Farage has the biggest party right now, I don't think having him in power is going to be a net positive for the country. It might be net positive as far as getting rid of the Tories and the Labour Party is concerned, but it won't be a net positive for everyone else because of the fact that he is secretly a closet Tory. He is secretly one of those people that wants to, well, not so secretly actually, because he wants to slander Tommy Robinson. And I do understand why he feels the need to do it. Believe me, I can play devil stroke number 3. I can understand why he's playing devil's advocate. Or sorry, I can play devil's advocate and why he's doing it. He doesn't want the mainstream media and the establishment to come after him in the same way that Tommy Robinson is being attacked. I can understand it. 3 strokes, that's it, I'm out. No. But we'll all have a good fucking laugh together, and that's the thing. I've got one thing that Keir the Traitor Starmer will never have. Charisma. Now, what was my charisma again, Mike, on D&D? Anyway, I have got the charisma. I don't like to say it just to be like, I'm one-upping you and all that shit, or that I've got this and I can brag about it. No, I'm saying it because I, generally speaking, do have about me. That's the thing. I can actually give people a smile, a laugh. I can reason with people. I can showcase what goes on with some parts of it. And if there are things that I need to learn, I'm not afraid to speak up and admit it. Keir the Traitor Starmer, you'd be lucky if he admitted he put his shoes on the wrong way, let alone that he's fucked the country. Like, that's a pipe dream that will never come true. But I think I've waffled on enough, guys. And I'm sure I've given you a bit of a good time here. So, yeah, I think we'll end it here. Obviously, tomorrow, I'll read this book. I'll probably, the way I look at it, if I can read through at least like 50 pages or so per thing, I'm trying to see how many pages there are for this again, because I literally forgot. Conclusion. Just under 350 actually, it's 344. But I reckon if I can do like 50 pages per video, we can get this done over the next 6 weeks, which will lead us comfortably into December and Christmas, basically. 1 second. Because that's the way I want to do this more than anything. I don't want to completely go OTT and be like, I'm going to read 200 pages now and then the other half later. No, I want to pace myself because I haven't really read a shit ton of books. And this is going to be a challenge for you. It's probably the biggest book I'll have read. It could be that this is blurry. It could be the way the streams go up. But I have been trying to use some window cleaner or some shit. Mr. Muscle. I have been trying to use that shit and obviously give the lens a wipe. But if it is that bad, then I suppose it can't be helped. It may also be because of the fact that in the past, I dropped my phone at some point and this top corner up here, the phone actually started coming out, and me and Mike had actually tried to fix it. We tried to fix it, and unfortunately, we couldn't get that top right bit to actually stay in. So I think what's probably going to end up happening is some dust has probably gotten in there and it's causing it to mess up the lens. I think it's a signal. I don't think the signal will have anything to do with whether or not it's blurry, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's enough, guys. So thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Manifesto. And we will see how that goes. And then I will do a stream every Saturday. A video every Saturday, reading 50 pages more out of that manifesto book. We're going to put the truth out there. And we're going to showcase to those traitors in Parliament that there is a storm coming. And this storm is going to wipe away, wash away all the trash in the houses of treachery.